Vaccine Safety by Zoe and Catherine. What are vaccines? Vaccines are the most effective method we have against fighting deadly and contagious diseases. When you get a vaccine, the vaccines expose you to very small and safe amounts of a virus or bacteria that have been altered and weakened or killed. You will not get seriously ill, but maybe mild symptoms. Activate your immune system against future exposure. Immune system makes antibiotics, substances that fight of an infection. Usually they remain in your system multiply exposes to the same infection. These are a list of some of the vaccines, like chickenpox vaccines, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, HPV, and other various types of vaccines. Statistics on vaccines. Vaccines, in addition to safe water, have the greatest influence on reducing mortality worldwide, especially for children under the age of 5. To prevent more than 2.5 million child deaths a year, they could prevent another 2 million deaths a year among children under 5. Statistics on vaccines continued. Over 100 million children are immunized each year before their first birthday. Around 24 million children under age 1, almost 20% of children born, are not being reached by vaccines. Recent advantages. Many new vaccines have been developed since 2000. More and more vaccines are being given both in industrialized and developing countries. GAVI Alliance partnership between public and private communities established in 2000 greatly increased immunization in poor countries, provides funding to buy vaccines, provides technical support to countries with the greatest needs. World access to vaccines. According to WHO, World Health Organization, and UNICEF, United Nations Children's Fund, over 80% of the world's children now have access to immunization. More immunizations are becoming more available in developing countries as well.
Vaccine administration, unfortunately, has been more difficult than we would like it to be. Many of the delivery systems that are set up in developing countries involve a network of stores that the vaccines must go through. This causes an overstock of vaccines that increases costs and waste. Most of the vaccines come in a multi-modes vial. When only part of the vial is used, the rest goes to waste. In the past, vaccines cost approximately 10 cents. Now they cost between $3.50 to $7.50. There are also issues of the cold storage space. The vaccines are now being prepared in larger packaging, which increases the amount of cold storage space necessary, which might not be available in poor countries. UNICEF has put white squares on all of the vaccine vials that get darker with heat exposure so that the medical community can see if the vaccines have been compromised in any way. Through the Gates Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates have made a great investment in striving to vaccinate all of the children in the world. Almost 200 countries around the world have endorsed the Decade of Vaccines, which is the goal of vaccinating every person in the world by the year 2020. If this goal is achieved, an estimated 1.5 million child deaths from diseases could be prevented because of the vaccination. There are many things that are being done to reach children with vaccines. World leaders have increased their funding and commitment to the project. Giving pneumococcal and rotavirus vaccines to these children have prevented 2 prevalent diseases, pneumonia and diarrhea. It is important that the financial assistance does not decline during difficult economic times. Governments and donors need to continue their funding, as well as increase their funding to these programs to improve global health. There are many challenges to vaccination due to technology, manufacturing, and location. It is difficult reaching children in remote rural areas, impoverished cities, and war-torn regions, especially because most of these children live in Africa and Asia. Research has to continue to develop new vaccines against malaria, tuberculosis, and AIDS. Since there are only a limited number of companies that produce vaccines, the demand is greater than the supply produced. We are having issues affecting immunization. We do not know who will pay for the vaccines, their supply, the distribution of vaccines to remote villages, the storage that must be cold for the vaccines, and the repeated vaccinations in a series to obtain full immunity. Strategies to immunize more children. When any healthcare worker sees a mother or child, it is an opportunity to ask about their immunization status. Mobile teams can vaccinate and offer other supplies such as anti-malaria bed nets. Public education in these areas is important, as well as community participation. Public health officials need to monitor the frequency of diseases and outbreaks along with the safety and efficiency of the vaccines. This is a video of how vaccines prevent illness.
An illness can be caused by pathogens, bacteria and viruses that cause disease. These foreign invaders can enter the body in different ways, such as through an open wound, by inhalation, or through contact with mucous membranes of the eyes, nose, or mouth. If your body becomes infected by a pathogen, the white blood cells circulating in the blood go through a trial and error period to determine the best way to kill the organisms. During this period, the body is sick with symptoms of the illness. When the white blood cells determine how to destroy it, they create memory cells to handle future attacks of that same pathogen. Vaccination is a way to trigger the body's immune response without becoming sick. The vaccine contains weak or dead organisms that usually do not cause illness. The body is able to destroy the pathogen in the vaccine and produce memory cells. When the body develops immunity to a specific pathogen, immunization has occurred. If the body is ever exposed to the same pathogen in the future, the memory cells react quickly without a trial and error period. This allows the body to destroy the pathogen efficiently before it can cause illness.
Our sources were the World Health Organization, the Gates Foundation, and UNICEF. Even though some of these are .org sites, they are reliable and are intensely involved in the subject of vaccines.